The Law of One, Book 3, Part 4. Questioner. Could you give me the same information on the negatively oriented social memory complexes as to the ratios and as to how they use the slingshot effect or the disciplines of the personality for travel? Ra. I am Ra. The fourth density negative uses the slingshot gravitic light effect, perhaps 80% of its membership being unable to master the disciplines necessary for alternate methods of travel. In fifth density negative, approximately 50% at some point gain the necessary discipline to use thought to accomplish travel. As the sixth density approaches, the negative orientation is thrown into confusion and little travel is attempted. What travel is done is perhaps 73% of light thought. Questioner. Is there any difference close to the end of fifth density in the disciplines of personality between positive and negative orientation? Ra. I am Ra. There are patent differences between the polarities, but no difference whatsoever in the completion of the knowledge of the self necessary to accomplish this discipline. Questioner. Am I correct then in assuming that discipline of the personality, knowledge of self, and control and strengthening of the will would be what any fifth density entity would see as those things of importance? Ra. I am Ra. In actuality, these things are of importance in third through early seventh densities. The only correction in nuance that we would make is your use of the word control. It is paramount that it be understood that it is not desirable or helpful to the growth of the understanding, may we say, of an entity by itself to control thought processes or impulses, except where they may result in actions not consonant with the law of one. Control may be seen to be a shortcut to discipline, peace, and elimination. However, this very control potentiates and necessitates the further incarnative experience in order to balance this control or repression of that self which is perfect. Instead, we appreciate and recommend the use of your second verb in regard to the use of the will, acceptance of self, forgiveness of self, and the direction of the will. This is the path towards the disciplined personality. Your faculty of will is that which is powerful within you as co-creator. You cannot ascribe to this faculty too much importance. Thus, it must be carefully used and directed in service to others for those upon the positively oriented path. There is great danger in the use of the will as the personality becomes stronger, for it may be used even subconsciously in ways reducing the polarity of the entity. Questioner. I sense possibly a connection between what you just said and why so many wanderers have selected the harvest time on this planet to incarnate. Am I correct? Ra. I am Ra. It is correct that in the chance to remember that which has been lost in the forgetting, there is a nimiety of opportunity for positive polarization. We believe this is the specific thrust of your query. Please ask further if it is not. Questioner. I would just include the question as to why the time of harvest is selected by so many wanderers as time for incarnation. Ra. I am Ra. There are several reasons for incarnation during harvest. They may be divided by the terms self and other self. The overriding reason for the offering of these brothers and sisters of sorrow in incarnative states is the possibility of aiding other selves by the lightening of the planetary consciousness distortions and the probability of offering catalysts to other selves, which will increase the harvest. There are two other reasons for choosing this service which have to do with the self. The wanderer, if it remembers and dedicates itself to service, will polarize much more rapidly than is possible in the far more etiolated realms of higher density catalyst. The final reason is within the mind-body-spirit totality, or the social memory complex totality, which may judge that an entity or members of a societal entity can make use of third density catalysts to recapitulate a learning teaching, which is adjudged to be less than perfect. This especially applies to those entering into and proceeding through sixth density, wherein the balance between compassion and wisdom is perfected. Questioner: Thank you. Just as something that I am a little inquisitive about, but which is not of much importance, I would like to make a statement which I intuitively hunch. I may be wrong. You were speaking of the slingshot effect, and that term has me puzzled. The only thing I can see is that you must put energy into a craft until it approaches the velocity of light, and this, of course, requires more and more energy. The time dilation occurs, and it seems to me that it would be possible, by moving at 90 degrees to the direction of travel, to somehow change this stored energy in its application of direction or sense, so that you move out of space-time into time-space with a 90-degree deflection. Then the energy would be taken out in time-space, and you would re-enter space-time at the end of this energy burst. Am I in any way correct on this? Ra: I am Ra. You are quite correct as far as your language may take you, and, due to your training, more able than we to express the concept. Our only correction, if you will, would be to suggest that the 90 degrees of which you speak are an angle which may be best understood as a portion of a tesseract. Questioner: Thank you. Just a little point that was bothering me of no real importance. Is there then, from the point of view of an individual who wishes to follow the service to others path, anything of importance other than discipline of personality, knowledge of self, and strengthening of will? Ra: I am Ra. This is technique. This is not the heart. Let us examine the heart of evolution. Let us remember that we are all one. This is the great learning teaching. In this unity lies love. This is a great learned teaching. In this unity lies light. This is the fundamental teaching of all planes of existence in materialization. Unity, love, light, and joy. This is the heart of evolution of the spirit. The second ranking lessons are learned taught in meditation and in service. At some point, the mind-body-spirit complex is so smoothly activated and balanced by these central thoughts or distortions that the techniques you have mentioned become quite significant. However, the universe, its mystery unbroken, is one. Always begin and end in the Creator, not in technique. Questioner: In the previous session, you mentioned the light bringers from the octave. Am I to understand that those who provide the light for the graduation are of an octave above the one we experience? Could you tell me more about these light bringers, who they are, and etc.? Ra: I am Ra. This will be the last full query of this working. This octave density of which we have spoken is both Omega and Alpha, the spiritual mass of the infinite universes becoming one central sun or creator once again. Then is born a new universe, a new infinity, a new logos which incorporates all that the creator has experienced of itself. In this new octave, there are also those who wander. We know very little across the boundary of octave except that these beings come to aid our octave in its logos completion. Is there any brief query which you have at this time? Questioner: Only, is there anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or to improve the contact? Ra: I am Ra. This instrument has some distortion in the area of the lungs, which has been well compensated for by the position of the physical complex. All is well. We leave you, my friends, in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite Creator. Adonai.